What is up, everybody? This is Edward back with another video, another episode of Everybody Hates Black Men. I am your host, Edward Anderson. Hopefully, you all checked out my video that I'm gonna upload. I'm definitely gonna try to fire off a lot more uploads, and as I, get more used to firing them off again, and get, the process that I'm now doing, they'll be a lot more quicker and rapid fire. Hopefully, I can get out at least one a day, if not two a day. And shout out to the new subscribers. So we're gonna get back in that habit. Hopefully, you all like some of the AI stuff. I'm gonna start having some AI videos come out as well. Just to let you know, so we're gonna get in that habit. So if y'all got any requests for AI stuff, let me know. I'm kind of experimenting with the VHO stuff for background footage and stuff like that, so it's gonna be good. But if you haven't seen my video, definitely make sure you check it out. Video talking about protection. It's kind of like an appetizer, basically breaking down the protection they want versus the protection that actually happens. And check that out. Today we're talking black male accountability and this myth of black men not being accountable. And it is a myth. And it's a very, again, black male accountability. So y'all gather in here, and then we're gonna jump on that in a second. I'm trying to get done real quick. Shout out to Nate, because a lot of this stuff is inspired by some of the messages and posts that Nate has sent. So make sure you give him a shout out. Make sure you check out his TikTok. I'll share in the description eventually. Give me 1 second. 1 second. Yeah, and I wanted to go live on this because that is some particularly devious shit with this kind of new push that black men are not held accountable. All right, I'm back. Yeah, it's particularly devious, this kind of notion that black men are not held accountable. And what you have to understand is this is the new thing that's going on. Basically, there's a term called clip farming. And essentially, what clip farming is basically where you focus on the clip. So you create a clip. You focus on creating a 1 minute clip, 50-second clip. It's something that's been going on, but now they're applying a name to it. And you focus on the clip. And then the idea is to create clips that are highly engaging, highly viral, and basically communicate the point that you want to communicate. There's a non-bad way of doing this, but in the space that we're in, this is essentially lying. This is essentially an idea of it's not important the context. It's important the reaction, because you make money off the reaction. The reaction that somebody gets off a video, the emotional reaction, that's where the money is, and that's what keeps people highly engaged. So it really doesn't matter the context, because at the end of the day, they don't care anyway. And it's the algorithm loves it because these are things that are going to go viral. This is essentially justifying lying. It's saying it doesn't matter what what is actually going on. What matters is how people react and respond to it. So it basically justifies people lying. It justifies people editing clips in such a way to where it completely misrepresents what's being said in the clip. It's to the point where, like, I've heard Poor Man say it. I've heard a couple other people say it, where literally they have to mention, yeah, I know somebody's gonna clip farm this. I know somebody's gonna clip farm this and make this seem in such a way. I've heard Andrew Wilson mention this, and he's gone viral a couple of times because of this. Now, if you're doing this in like skits or other things that are more, less serious, that's one thing, because that stuff isn't meant to be real in the first place. A lot of even these skits that are kind of in a relationship in this niche, what you see is you see people literally like creating skit. And so, as dumb as people are now, people and the comprehension, you have people having very strong emotional reactions to things that are completely miscontextual. It is like insane propaganda, because people aren't really paying the fuck. People are feeling their way through shit, and they've been conditioned to feel their way through stuff. So when you look at this idea of protection, I've talked about, the video talks about not protection but accountability. Essentially, in black women's minds, they want to start basically just like how with white people, the world starts in the 1980s, because this allows them to not be. This is when slavery didn't happen. Allows them to kind of define black people as just violent and all this other bullshit. It allows them to create a certain narrative because they can't cope. They cannot cope with the truth. So now people are just, the new shit is just, since I can't cope with the truth, I can't argue the truth. I'm just going to ignore the truth. I'm just going to pretend the truth didn't happen. We're just going to ignore history, ignore context. I'm not even talking about slavery. We're going to ignore the civil rights movement. We're going to ignore Jim Crow. We're going to just ignore that because I can't win that argument. So I'm not going to engage in that argument. So I'm just going to pretend that didn't happen. And I'm going to have all my arguments. Anything that's good and it's white, yeah, we're going to talk about that. But anything that I don't like, I'm just going to ignore. That's essentially where we are now. That is essentially where the fuck we are now. We are in a situation where people have just decided that when they can't win an argument, they just won't talk about it. They just won't. And so they literally won't, their arguments won't be crafted. Their arguments are crafted with basically headcanon is what we're dealing with. You got people that are looking at history and context as headcanon. So I say all that because in the mind of a black woman, basically all this shit starts in 2010 or 2015. Or in their mind, all this stuff starts post Kevin Samuels and post Kevin Samuels. So once upon a time, the black community was doing very well. And then Kevin Samuels, the devil, showed up and essentially basically destroyed black love, destroyed everything that was good between black people. And then you just got these angry incels that were led by Kevin Samuels that basically came in here and did blase, blase, blah. This is essentially the headcanon to black women. So when you hear this term accountability, like black men are not accountable, whenever you ask them, what do you mean by black male accountability? What are you actually talking about? It's always bitch babble. It's always intersectional. Basically, I don't get picked. Basically, what it really is I don't get picked by the niggas I want. If I do get picked by the niggas I want, it's only in a sexual encounter. It's only on their terms. They have all the leverage. So I hate these motherfuckers. It's cloaked misandry. It's cloaked misandry. Black men are the most held accountable group in the United States. If someone tells me this is not true and they don't agree, they be like false. Okay, who is? Who is? And I dare you say the black woman. Who is? Well, they never can say that. Okay, who gets away with more shit than anybody else? They'll probably say white women. So you can recognize that, but it gets complicated. Again, you have people. This is why I generally don't engage. If I engage with you and you're being disingenuous, understand the gloves are coming off and I'm gonna make you feel stupid. Understand, I'm gonna make it understand. I've literally done this with people. I'm like, look, understand something. We can have this argument. We can have a conversation, or I can make you understand you don't know shit. Because I'm not here to satiate your like emotional disposition. The truth is the truth. If you can't handle what that shit is, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. And that's what it is. You have people that they're not really trying. They're not interested in the truth. They're not interested in the truth. They're interested in creating a certain narrative in their own worldview. And understand that's dangerous to your quality of life. Because what people don't understand about doing stupid stuff like that, what they don't get about having that mentality is that the world is what it is regardless of how you feel about it. You feeling a type of way about the world doesn't matter. It doesn't change. It doesn't change. The sun is going to come up regardless how you feel about the sun coming up. And so, anyway, but as far as this kind of accountability thing, when I see in these comments or I see people talk about accountability, black men gonna get theirs. Newsflash, bitch. Black men have already been getting theirs. Like, and again, they're also focusing through these celebrities as well. All these celebrities is getting caught up. Like, getting caught up, which is all that is getting caught up. Understand, eventually, these celebrities are going to get tired of getting messed up like that. And notice how it's constant black celebrities. And, black men are not being held accountable. You're talking about a select 1% of 1% of 1% of black men that are in highly positions. Most black dudes don't care. Like the black dudes you're dealing with are operating on a nothing to lose mentality anyway. So this idea that black men is a collective group or quote unquote being held accountable, black men have always been held accountable. And so you hear when these people say this stupid shit and they actually believe this shit. That's the amazing part. They actually believe that black men are not held accountable and they're gonna get theirs. The absolute fucking projection is fucking insane. And in their mind, this is them putting out curses. So they hope that they don't like, it's not even about black men hoping or wishing black women are held accountable. The reality is black women have been subsidized for so long, they act like they don't know they've been subsidized. And so all you're really seeing is these subsidies being removed. Also, they don't know, like a lot of these chicks fundamentally don't know how to communicate with their men properly because they've never had to. So now what you see is a whole bunch of these chicks trying to wag their finger or do what they see on TV. This color purple, waiting to exhale bullshit that a lot of these chicks were raised on. And they actually think that's going to work. They actually think that's going to move the needle. They actually think they're going to guilt trip black men. That black men are going to come. Like I'm telling you, when I say it's Keisha vision, I absolutely mean that. with a lot of it's Keisha vision for them. They actually that's like how WandaVision was like in her little world and move like the delusion was on 1,000. It's the same thing here. They actually believe that black men are gonna come crawling to them, basically saying, "Yeah, you right. What Oz needs to do." You got women that fundamentally believe that. And so they keep, and this is why, if you notice they will. You notice how they will never show their face and actually have a conversation about accountability. They will never do that. They always regulate that in the comment section. Yeah, black men gonna be held accountable. It's coming because they can't argue that. They can't argue that. So they literally will stay in certain spaces in order to protect their own delusion. So they think you're in the comment section talking about black men gonna be held accountable. They actually think that means something. They actually think, oh, black. I mean, I'm just like, what does that even look like? So how are black? And again, I listened to that chick. It was Jalen Rose's daughter. And again, when you hear this, what this essentially is pretty much black women lashing out because they can't get what they want. It's essentially, I don't want to call it femcel speak, but it's loser speak. You're operating at a level that you can't play at. Jalen Rose's daughter is very connected, is in a certain class, but from an attractiveness level, and she is a cute female, but she is regular chick cute. She is not, oh man, I could see her, being an NBA dude dealing with her. No, you're not that. And they hate that. And so they already have a built-in resentment towards black men. So a lot of these little things allow them to express it. That's really what we're dealing with. That's really what the situation is. Hold on one second. So in their mind, because you got to really think about it. Like, who the fuck are you? Like, give me some genuine situations where black men are not held accountable. Give me, well, when it comes down to taking care of these kids. So when you hear that, so what, taking care of kids. So basically, you mean a dude that you mean a dude, by the way, that you didn't get a ring. A dude that you let hit. Because, this is important. This is not like deflection. This is absolutely important. Because here's the thing. If a man does not marry, here's the thing. A man is not having sex with you in order to create a child. That is not his intention. His intention is to get pleasure off a sexual activity. Like, if we're just gonna be gang theory here and just be straight up about it, fuck what you think a nigga is supposed to do, That's what it is. And I know you understand this because when black women are dealing with non-black men, they don't say this shit. They don't go, oh, he ain't doing. No, they know what the deal is. You know that these motherfuckers are not having sex with you with the intent of creating a child. And you very much understand, regardless of how much you're in your feelings, that if you sit here and you try to force a kid on him, your ass being abandoned is very likely. You understand this. You're not dumb. So, but there's this entitlement with black men of what black men are supposed to do. Because they have a certain level of, they think they own black men. So a lot of when you hear this shit, this is like anger like a master would have to like a pet or some shit like that. Like it's really fucking crazy as hell when you really understand the psychology behind why black women think the way they think. And so that's the one thing they'll bring up. They'll bring up the baby shit. Fuck the fact that they're putting wall, they make it hard. Fuck the fact, the marriage shit. Fuck the fact they make it hard for a man to even take care of his kids. So it's really not really about the kid. It's really about their level of control over a situation. Because black women are damn sure always trying to get leverage. Black men, if anything, are just trying to have access to you sexually. This idea that black men are trying to control black men don't really care like that. They really don't. But if a dude is committing to you, that's going to be a different thing because he's committing to you. If a dude is just fucking you, most of these niggas don't give a fuck about what you're doing. They really don't. Tia Jones is still able to run at trap meets despite her making, yeah, because it doesn't, like, because again, in their mind, because you got to understand, what black women have a very deep-seated self-hatred issue. SWP described it as extra layers on a cake. So because they feel bad about being black women black men have a black men's self-worth problem only goes as far as how black women feel bad about them. You take black men out of the proximity of black females and the culture that black women have built around that, black men don't have a self-worth problem generally. Now not in the same extreme ways. You may have like your SWPs as far as competing with other groups and stuff like that, sure. But that doesn't bother black men actually as much as I could argue it should. But the reality is most of black men's lack of self-worth is pretty much tied to how black women feel about themselves. That is how potent black women hating themselves is, to the point where it actually affects black men's self-worth. Because the black men have this false definition of manhood that if a woman is not, if your woman is not happy, then there's something wrong with you. It's something you're not doing. At the end of the day, you're in a system of white supremacy. And anybody that thinks 6% of the population is going to overturn an entire damn near like 250 million people, that's a delusion. That's a mental illness. If it's that bad, then you need to fucking leave. And if you're not gonna leave, you need to fucking learn how to deal with it. That's really what that's really, if you can't, and that's not even on some white shit, that's like for real. Cause the thing is, my position on that is black men, it's like, yo, if you're gonna have this resentment towards black men, then we need to go our separate ways and just call it quits. And black men know this is true. This is why black men are in denial, because they can't accept that reality. And so this opens them up to listening to purple pill people, basically this whipping boy shit, where black men feel this perpetual, you got a lot of black men that's on this, black men are not held accountable for the position of what black women are in. A lot of the position black women are in today is self-inflicted. They went with the white woman and allowed the white woman to usurp the resources that we fought for men to have that would have trickled down to them. And as a result, it created a bigger wealth gap, which is why we are where we are. Black women, but race betrayed black men for white women, and they got fucked. That's why black women are in the state that they're in right now. White women did not help black women, crack era, any of this shit. White women went along and let black women crash the fuck out, and aided and abetted in many ways in the crash out. So a lot of this anger that black women should have towards white women, which they're not going to have that because black women understand that their resources are tied to white women. So they know their place and they know when to shut the fuck up. Marty knows a lot about that. A lot of these, you got to understand, a lot of these women are fucking cowards. And they're women. I don't expect them to have like a whole bunch of overt courage. But women are not going to jump on people that control their resources. I always tell you, you need to create a reward punishment mechanism. Because at the end of the day, women are fucking cowards. If women understand that you can basically remove them from resources and stuff, and there's nothing they can do, they will shut the fuck up, man. They'll look for ways to try to undermine you, which is why, you know, fame ain't it. Being a streamer is like the best lane to be, because your audience is gonna believe you regardless if you right or wrong. So women don't have a lot of runway to pull bullshit. Now, they may still try to sue you, but at the end of the day, if you're not getting money from sponsors and stuff, they can't affect you that way. And like I said, if you a streamer, you can just passport bro that shit, to be honest with you. You can just passport bro that shit, honestly, and say, fuck it. Because she's got a name. Y'all look at Anton from a red pill lens. Anton is a content creator first and foremost. She's got a name. As BGS would say. She's got a name. And what is she really gonna say? Anton's still married. She's divorced. She's got a name, and that attracts a certain demographic. What? She's trying to build her channel. I mean, he know what she did with Kevin. She got a name. It ain't like he paying her. It's basically free. It's free. Again, this is a business. You know, we're on the activist side of it, but this is a business first and foremost. And a lot of people tend to forget that, man. And I get it. Y'all are customers. I don't expect y'all to be like, you know, to really, you know, I expect y'all to forget. But this is a business. I'm not running it like a business, but it is a business. This is a business now. This is not about activism. It's really not about moving the needle forward for most people. It's about making money. And so everything they do is always going to be calibrated towards that, which is why I keep telling y'all, you know, I showed y'all how the money is actually made on YouTube and what the metrics actually look like. So you all can understand this is a money thing. And I don't even get mad about it for the most part. I just understand, okay, people are on the spectrum with it as far as like how much the money is important. But yeah, it's a money thing. That's all that is. Anton is in position. What is she really gonna say that he can't really handle? At the end of the day, her daughter was doing OnlyFans. I don't know if she still is. You know, these bitches are running the OnlyFans. Like, it's like, yo, y'all can't say shit. You really can't. Your marriage got broke up. You lost your white man playing on the internet. Let's just call it what it is. So it ain't nothing she's gonna say or do that's gonna mess his platform up. So you might as well. Also, you got to remember this is for the other chicks that don't like him, or they don't like that he calls stuff out. If you have her on there, it's like, yeah, like he ain't afraid to have you on here. So when y'all say it's kind of a declaration of them as well. So it is what it is. I mean, I wouldn't care as a snake. Cares as a snake. And truth be told, if we're gonna be honest, a lot of them other women outmaneuvered her. But ultimately, going back to the accountability, basically when they say black men are going to be held accountable, it's basically because we're not doing what the fuck we want them to do. They want us, we're not doing what the fuck they want us to do. That's essentially what accountability is to them. And you know, it's funny. It's going to be fun. It really is going to be very funny because all the women that's got some goddamn sense are gonna be fine. That's the people. Why do you? I don't wish nothing on nobody, but I know all the women that's got some sense are gonna be fucking fine. Even if they're not married in these perfect situations, all the women that got somewhat of some goddamn sense, they gonna be all right. But all these women that hate men and all this bullshit, y'all hate men, but y'all need men. I mean, I already know y'all can't go nowhere else. Unless y'all 8s, 9s, or 10s, and if y'all are 8s, 9s, or 10s, y'all don't really have this kind of resentment. Like, y'all are playing a different game anyway. And even then, you're only 8, 9, or 10 for a certain amount of time. That's like being a peak NBA player. You're only at your peak for, like, Russell Westbrook is not at his peak. Even Kevin Durant is not at their peak. Not like they used to be. Right? So you're only at your peak for a certain amount of time. So men understand this. Women don't. So as the world turns, women are turning 18, 21, 25, depending on what your age. That's what I'm going to start saying. Women turn 25 every day. Women are turning 25 every day. More the dudes, even the dudes that are tricks, are going to realize there's a better trick market. They're going to get smarter. Dudes are going to get smarter. This idea that shit is going to happen and black men are going to run back to black women, that's a delusion. Dudes are gonna get smarter. The dudes that are simping are understand when dudes simp, when dudes are simping like a lot are pandering, understand that all these dudes talk is cheap. When they pander, they're just telling you what you want to hear. Even if they don't believe it in their own personal life. They're just telling you what you want to believe, what you want to hear. Them folks ain't breaking you off no money. They not breaking you off. They're basically telling what you want to hear for you to watch them and pay them. You are paying for them to lie to you. You are paying for them to gas your ass up. That's what you're paying them for this. That's what you dumbass don't understand. You are paying them. Exactly. R&B singing, well, you know, they pretend to be simps. Now, whether they really are, most of them really aren't simps. Most of them, they just pretend to be. That's a character. Just like how Beyonce has a character, you know, that Sasha Fierce. That's not how she really lives. That's more like how Solange is. That's not how Beyonce actually lives. That's probably how her mother wanted to be. But her mother was born in a different time. A lot of these women, they hate the time that they were born in. They wish they could be young, wild, and free like they see these other women. Even though they know what comes on the other side of that. These women know when these chicks get older, they're fucked. When they start getting, like, especially when they start going in their 40s. Because when they start going in their 40s, every chick don't got the money to pay for a dude. They talk about young dudes. Y'all are paying for that. Y'all are trading for that. Y'all are not young dudes are just not showing up at your doorstep. Because why would they fuck you when they can fuck somebody your own age? It's the same thing y'all say with men, with the exception that men accept that reality. Because we understand what it is. I don't know, Ed, you truth. People are afraid of reflection. I mean, yeah, they are. And so they project. That's another reason of projecting. Because they don't want to, really, and that's on them. Understand this. It's like it's like you're on a cliff and there's a wall that's moving you off the cliff. It doesn't matter. People think you can out argue these arguments. You cannot argue reality. The reality is they got that beautiful bill. Obsidian and other people, but Obsidian is the most notable for it. BGS said it too. Make sure y'all support that Cash App as well. They're cutting. They're cutting. They are cutting. They are cutting. They are cutting Section 8 or redoing Section 8, which, by the way, is a lot of your blue liberal states are just going to use Section. Look, them making Section 8 a grant program is fucking black women completely up, because Democrats are just going to use it for immigrants and Hispanics. They're not going to use it for black women, because black women failed in their eyes. That's number one. Number two, so they basically essentially are cutting that. The DEI is going to make it, it's basically reversing black women going in these schools just because black women have been one of the most subsidized group as far as going into these schools. Because people forget, the reason why black women were pushed into college was in order to get them off of welfare in Section 8. That was that welfare reform. People forget that. That wasn't because black women are just so important in their education. Black women were encouraged basically to have extended high school. That's why a lot of these bitches got all these bullshit ass degrees that are useless and no debt. I mean, and their college debt is off the charts. That's why that is. That's what people forget about. So again, all this fake ass accountability that black men have to have, as if black men are already not the most held accountable demographic in the United States. It's a delusion. Yeah, what's up, Landon? Appreciate the $2. All dollars matter. Yeah, let me know what you think, because I'm gonna be closing this out in a few minutes. He said, I've talked to a lot of women, but black women are driven off attention as currency compared to no, all women, yeah, black women do it at an extreme because they're the most insecure, but all women are driven off of attention, but black women do it to an extreme degree because they're so fucking insecure. And people are like, well, whose fault is that? At the end of the day, man, but it's not black men. Like this, first of all, most black women have attention issues or insecurity issues because they don't have their father in their life, and they don't have their father in their life because of how their mother chose to have them. Let's just call that what it is. That's like the biggest issue. Is a lot of these chicks don't have their father in their life because black women choose to try to control the child and make it hard for the dad to be in the child's life, or they have kids with dudes that they know are not going to be there, and they do that on purpose. So I don't want to hear this narrative that black men are just abandoning kids. Black women go out of their way in order to create that situation, because that's how you create the type of black female that is insecure. This is how you create today's black female. They know the recipe and they're doing it on purpose. So I don't want to hear that black men abandon black women bullshit, because the reality is that black women actively choose dudes that are going to do that. They create that situation. Because if you really believe that, then just stop having sex with black men. Just stop having their children altogether. But they're not going to do that because they're not having the kids for black men. They're having the kids for themselves. And quiet as it's kept, a lot of these chicks can't get a biracial baby. So ultimately, the best thing that black men can do, I mean, you got like, some of these things really shouldn't even be argued by these bitches. Like, so we need to really start getting into the you right. Because ultimately, I'm not here to argue with women. Women can believe what they want to believe. The objective is us to put more black men in the common sense category. That's the objective. The objective is not, these women can believe what they want to believe. Because at the end of the day, as BGS says, the environment and reality is going to correct that anyway. That's moving. I mean, that's moving. Everything we said was going to happen is happening. It's moving in the direction at an accelerated pace. Because remember, Trump only has 3.5 years in office. He's been in office for about a little bit under 3.5 years. So at the end of the day, things are moving in that direction. So your job is to be your job is to basically have your shit together. Your job is to communicate that with other black men. Honestly, arguing with black women is irrelevant. Black women either get it or they don't. If they don't get it in 2025, then they're never going to get it. So it's you being in the position you need to be in, and you fortifying that position. So all this bullshit, what was going on with Zion, what's going on with all these athletes, this lets you know what these women are thinking about and what they're trying to do. In their mind, they're trying to hold men accountable. No, black women are always trying to win in a situation because they don't see themselves. Most of them do not see themselves as being part of a team. There's a select minority of women that are not on that, but even then, the culture kind of drives them to be on that. So it really doesn't even matter. So ultimately, your job is to fortify your position so you're in position. Even as like some of y'all are like my age and y'all may not have kids, y'all got a decision to make. Like how, if you all want kids, how are you, whether it's alternative ways or the traditional way, how are you going to go about doing that? We already know the leverage points if you go at it the traditional way. Are you going to import a bitch? What are you going to do? These are real things you need to think about because some of y'all do want kids. Me, I gotta make a decision whether do I want kids or am I just gonna support my brothers in having kids, my younger brothers, and carry it on that way. But then again, all my brothers got different dads, so that's kind of a different situation if I do it like that. So I gotta kind of make that call. That's a real call. Well, you know, Jay, we'll see, and we'll see what JD Vance is on. Again, you know, so you know, but the Democrats don't look like shout out to there I said it with the $5. Yeah, it doesn't look like the Democrats are smart enough to deal with JD Vance. Basically, it seems like their strategy is, oh my God, look at what Trump did. Vote for us so we can reverse it, which they won't. Because they don't got to take the heat for what Trump already did. So they're not going to really reverse a lot of the stuff he did. They're going to let him do it, let him be the bad guy then. That's why if you notice there's not a lot of pushback in the Congress from the Democrats. They're not anything serious. The Democrats are a captured party. They don't know who the fuck they are. At least the Republicans don't know who they are and what they're trying to do. Democrats don't even know that. Oh, they're cutting taxes. It's the Democrats' fault it got this bad. Because the Democrats aided and abetted a lot of that. But that's something they won't tell you. Basically, you got people that are voting for the Democrats because they're not Republican. That's basically where we are right now. I mean, even with Hispanics, I mean, my thing is, you know, there's a certain a genetic legacy I'm trying to carry. So it's not just, that's why, even though I support SYSBN for leverage reasons, it's not necessarily, it depends. It really does. Let me see. I mean, Trump can, I mean, that narrative, I mean, understand that, yeah, make lazy people get out and work. I'm not against that narrative, because at the end of the day, that's mainly targeting white boys. So that's up to the white manosphere. We already know what it is with black men. In fact, black men need to take that as an opportunity. So I ain't even sweating that. I know that's what that Speaker of the House is trying to push. Because eventually they're going to have to, we know Hispanics are lazy. They're going to have to define who that laziness is. That's another way too to target young people. Target young people. We'll see. And that's good, because the more they do that, the more the more the young is gonna have to speak out and get off their ass and push back against that on something other than social media. Maybe these white boys will stop being on the BBC is the problem. So that don't affect us one bit. What these dudes need to understand is they're not going to leave you alone. They're not going to just let you sit in your basement and not do nothing. You're going to have to get on and get in the table. They're not going to, they're going to keep, but at the end of the day, shaming people ain't going to work. They're going to do more than just that. A lot of educated black women are going ratchet. I'll never understand the one. Yeah, it is. Because that's the culture. That's the culture. That's how you know that's the dominant culture. And people don't want to acknowledge that. That's the dominant culture in Black America. That's what people don't want to be honest about. Make sure you like the video. So anyway, I'm about to actually head out. Are we good? Are we good? Like, this is not how I did it before. So make sure you all hit up the last upload I did, and if you got any requests, comments, or something you want me to talk about, put it in the comment section. Shout out to Nate again, and with that being said, this is Edward signing off. Peace.